Are you a farmer and a musician? A mechanic and a teacher? An immigrant, an entrepreneur? Do you carry a story that doesn't fit into one box? Do you carry a story that's bigger than what people see at first glance? A story layered, in motion, still unfolding? I do. I am a Polish country girl and a trusted voice in Barclays, a naturalized citizen of the United States, and a founder of a company that sees people for who they can become. And I own the battery. Not the kind that makes you rich overnight, but still the kind that changes your life forever. In 1990s, I was a teenager standing in line outside of the US Embassy in Poland. I had just graduated high school. The country was in transition, the political climate was uncertain, and I was considered to be a high-risk traveler. I had nothing to return to. No job, no wealth, no promises. And that's what made my visa request questionable and unlikely to succeed. I stood there in line, watching one person after another being denied a visa. And I remember thinking to myself, why wouldn't I be allowed to go to the United States? Why wouldn't I be allowed to see my mother? I haven't seen someone for over a decade. I approached that US Embassy officer with that why in my heart. She looked at me, and maybe she knew what I didn't yet understand, that she was about to change the entire trajectory of my life. She approved my visa. And whether it was by intuition, compassion, or vision, she saw something in me. She didn't see a risk. She saw potential. She saw possibility. And when the US Embassy officer behind the glass said yes, that yes became my end. Often, we see people in a single dimension, based on their appearance, a first impression. How quick are we to judge someone and label them based on a single interaction, a story? We disconnect and we lose our potential for competitive advantage as communities and organizations. We reduce others and often ourselves to a single label: CEO, chef, homemaker, student, accountant, Democrat, Republican. And that label becomes the whole story. But that label is not the whole story. Let's consider analogy using today's emerging technologies. Standard classical computers were only using zeros and ones, one state at a time. They are either or. Now, let's visualize it through the lens of quantum computing. I see people the way quantum computing sees information, where 0 and 1 can exist together simultaneously, in motion, layered, complex, and that's what makes them powerful. Now, imagine if you could be 0 and 1 at the same time, not one or the other, both, in motion, complex, with infinite possibilities. That's what makes people powerful too. People are not static. We are not either or. We are in motion. We are N. Our ends are what make us human. They are what connect us. Start with A. Acknowledge humanity. See the person before their title, beyond their resume. As the CEO of talent placement agencies based in Montana, I've seen people walk into our office that, on first impression, don't appear to have many employable skills. Keyword, appear. But I can tell you many stories of myself seeing the person beyond the appearance and choosing to acknowledge their eagerness to work and contribute. and notice them. Look beyond what's obvious. What's unique about the person? What matters to them? What stories haven't been told? In my story about requesting a visa, the US officer granted me the visa because she noticed something about me. Whether it was my determination, my resilience, or my need to see my mother, I'll never know. But what I do know is that from all the people standing in line that day, she noticed me, and that changed my life forever. D. Develop potential. Make room for growth. Give opportunities for others where others don't see the potential. Believe in people the way someone once believed in you, that officer believed in me. In my work over the past 30 years, I differentiated and succeeded because I've seen potential where others missed, dismissed, or didn't care enough to see it. My team has developed some of the most unlikely candidates into reliable, competent, and contributing employees. It all starts with A.N.D. Not just a word, a mindset, a way to think, to include, to innovate, and to lead. I'm not just talking about anecdotal reference here. According to McKinsey's study, the most diverse companies outperform non-diverse companies in terms of profitability. Based on their 2019 study, the most diverse companies in their top quartile of ethnic and cultural diversity outperform those in the lowest quartile in terms of profitability by 36%. This is proof that when we see the person, this is the proof that when we reduce people to a single label, especially in today's social media soundbite culture, we strip away the richness of who they are and we limit our potential for innovation in our communities. We may even internalize it for ourselves. I'm only a high school graduate. I'm only someone who got lucky. I'm only a stay-at-home parent. This way of thinking, of seeing, limits the vision of others and ourselves. It holds back potential, not just for us as individuals, but for the entire community and organizations. But when we truly want to see the value of that person and truly see them, we put their hidden potential into motion, and that's when transformation happens. Albert Einstein was quoted to say, "Nothing happens unless something moves." Einstein wasn't just talking about physics. He was reminding us that movement creates change and possibilities. Nothing happens, nothing meaningful happens unless something or someone moves or is moved. When I was allowed to work in the United States, I went to the staffing agency, unsure of my skills, not knowing where I belong, extremely self-conscious about speaking English. They placed me in a temporary job, trusting me to represent their company, even though I wasn't sure myself. They generated the movement by placing me. They acknowledged me and my complexity by seeing me as immigrant and a person eager to learn and contribute. What ends are around you right now, maybe even sitting next to you? The more we try to flatten someone into one role or label, the more we miss out on their value, talent, and possibility they bring. But when we choose to see their ends, we build connection, we spur innovation, we create thriving, human-centered, competitive advantage communities. It all starts with "and," not just a word, a mindset, a way to see others and yourself, a way to think, to include, to innovate, and to lead. Ask yourselves, what are their ends? Am I stereotyping based on appearance or accent? What do we have in common? Are we both dog lovers, hikers, parents? But when we choose to see the ends, we build communities, something greater than ourselves. We build communities that are stronger, they adapt quicker, they solve problems more creatively and with purpose. I've seen it happen in Montana. Each summer, in the middle of the Montana Valley, a ranch becomes a stage, not just for the show, but for something much more meaningful. It's a gathering where ranchers and artists, conservation advocates and technology CEOs, teachers and musicians, parents and entrepreneurs all gather in one place to connect about common values and mutual care. Meals are cooked over fire with ingredients raised beneath their very much. Meals are cooked over fire with ingredients raised on the very land beneath their boots. Music and lyrics echo into open sight to remind us that we are not alone. The land isn't just a setting, it's the soul. And the idea behind it all? A mentor to Carl Mannix, co-founder of Old Salt Co-op and Old Salt Festival, wants to strike decision as more heartbeats per acre. This means not just valuing the output of land, but the life of the sports. More people engaged, more meaning per nomad, more belonging. That's sustainability and stewardship. That's competitive advantage and community, purpose, and place. Montana also has quietly become a global leader in photonics, high-tech innovation, and entrepreneurship. Why? Because around here, we recognize the ends, like a quantum computer where one qubit holds infinite possibility, and two qubits create a network of endless outcome. Montana thrives over interconnected potential. Our communities, organizations, and people are the same way. We are linked by her hands. You are many things in motion, complex, capable, ever becoming. And when you're seen this way, you rise, you connect, you thrive, you see ends in others. Our communities become resilient, self-efficient, and purpose-driven. Human potential doesn't arrive fully formed. It's activated when it's seen. The end framework is how I differentiated my business. This is how I created a competitive advantage by seeing people for the value they bring and knowing they want to contribute, they want to make a difference. Because I know what it feels like to be seen for only one thing and what it needs to be seen for everything. I am a business owner and a citizen of the United States. I am a Polish country bureau and a trusted voice in boardrooms. I am a believer in why not? Why not me? And the belief builder of why not you? Why not us? Let's stop reducing people to labels and start honoring their full story, their emotion, their full human complexity. So stand up in your own ends, because when you do, you encourage others to stand in theirs. I'm not only, I am and so are you.